Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, February 3rd. We begin a new week and a new month of trading after markets tumbled into the red during Friday's session and continue to fall this morning as tariff fears take hold. To end last week, disruption in the tech sector, the latest round of earnings, and the anticipation of Trump's tariffs were driving stocks. The Dow sank 337 points, or 0.75%. The S&P 500 dipped 30 points, or 0.5%. The Nasdaq slid 54 points, or just more than 0.25%, steeply off early session highs. Bill, let's get into a new week and a new month with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 1.51%. It's pretty ugly out there. There's a lot of redness on my screen. Commodity stocks could do okay, specifically like oil, because that is a safety trade. But for the most part, the sectors are all in the red. I mean, President Trump announcing those tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, it's seen as inflationary. And, concerns of a trade war are really escalating. I mean, the auto stocks are getting hit really hard. I mean, you look over in Japan, you look over in, Europe, and here in the U.S., they're all moving lower. In Canada and Mexico, they play a key role in the automobile supply chains, and you're going to be hitting those tariffs for that's going to increase car prices. What else do we see? After the bell today, we get the earnings coming out from Palantir, NXPI, Clorox, and RMBS. The key economic report today is that ISM Manufacturing PMI, which is due out after the opening bell. But it's really about the Trump tariffs that is really the main factor that's causing this global sell-off this morning. We're taking a look overseas. We're taking a look over Europe to see what's going on in Europe this morning. The DAX is down 1.92%, or 417 points. To face it, Trump also indicated that he's going to look to impose tariffs on the EU. So that's not good for European stocks. The FTSE down 123 points, or 1.42%. Fears of economic slowdown. Remember, they also have a Bank of England meeting that's scheduled for later this week, and the CAC in Paris is down 149 points, or 1.89%. In addition to the tariff action, the French Prime Minister is seeking to use special constitutional powers to pass a 2025 budget. He said today, now it's a bold move, but that could lead to, potentially breaking up the government coalition that they have right now. That would be like the third government in less than a year. That's not good for France. And you look at the French market's down 1.89%. Ooh, that's ugly. Then we're taking a look last night in Asia, and we're seeing what happened with the Nikkei. The Nikkei dropped 1,052 points. That's 2.66%. The strength in the dollar is weakening the yen. Automakers showed weakness, 2.66% negative. Wow, that's a big move. Hong Kong did open up lower, but they were able to kind of cap some of those gains. They only finished down lower by 0.07%. It was lower on the news, pending the Trump tariff actions, but China, they're waiting to hear what China's going to say. China was closed for the Lunar New Year celebration. I believe they opened up tomorrow. But then we just got to turn our attention to oil, because oil is jumping. WTI up 2.62%. WTI is up. It's trading at $74.43. You got Brent up 1.72%. That's trading $76.98. I mean, yeah. We're waiting on that OPEC news, but Saudi Arabia already came out and they said that they are not inclined to bow down to Trump and elevate their production, quota levels just because he wants them to. No, they're not doing it. So that's going to lead to some tense, causality between the White House and Saudi Arabia. We'll have to see what happens next, but Trump wants those guys to increase production, and they're essentially refusing. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, we hear there from your opening that these Trump tariffs are really sending reverberations in the markets here on U.S. soil, but across the globe and affecting a number of factors, as you mentioned, everything from the markets to oil, and fears of inflation now have creeped up along with that. But we've got to take a deep breath this morning because we're going to still look for opportunity here at NewsWare because we have a lot of information at hand. We're not only watching this big headline making news, but we're watching all of the details that could move the trading day. And we're still in, a period of earnings action because we're coming off sort of the main earnings season here, but there's a number of earnings to still be watching, and they're worth noting even as we're trying to manage sort of these bigger headlines. So let's start there on this Monday. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings?
Let's talk about what happened this morning. We had, Tyson Foods, ticker TSN, come out with earnings this morning, and they were positive. I mean, they beat by 36 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. That stock is in the green this morning, and it's up 3.95%. So, Tyson Foods, that's a winner. Now, there are not a whole lot of more earnings are coming out this morning, but tomorrow after the bell today, we do get Clorox, ticker CLX. Their EPS is $1.39. Expected move is 6.37%. You get NXPI, Nancy X-Ray, Paul India. Their EPS is $3.14 with the expected move of 7.02%. And Palantir Technologies, ticker PLTR, Paul, Larry, Tom, Richard, their EPS is 11 cents. And their expected move is 13.88% when they release earnings after the bell today, Emily.
Bill, you'll be keeping track of those using your NewsWare alert for earnings. Another alert that you have set up is your economic alert. Also, you have alerts for Fed speak. And as we're trying to navigate these choppy waters, paying attention to economic details day in and day out becomes increasingly important so we can gauge for ourselves what the health of the economy will look like and what we can anticipate the Fed is going to do next as they're trying to navigate these situations with the new administration and what the economy is doing. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of economic events?
Well, in terms of events, at 10 a.m., you get the ISM Manufacturing PMI. The estimates are for 49.9 reading. Also at 10 a.m., you get construction spending. At 12:30, you're going to be hearing from Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. At 6:30 p.m., we're going to be hearing from St. Louis Fed Bank President Masalam. So that's all good. But the key event today really was what happened on Saturday with President Trump announcing tariff action on Mexico, Canada, and China. I mean, imported goods from Mexico and Canada are being hit with a 25% tariffs. However, Canadian oil tariff was set at 10%. So he kind of did a sliding scale there. China imports are being hit with additional 10% tariffs. Canada immediately responded by matching the 25% tariffs. Mexico has said they're going to be hitting us with tariffs, but they didn't say when and how much. China, they came out and they said that they deplore the move and they're going to take necessary countermeasurements as well as filing a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization. So, this tariff action on Saturday, it's not over with because it's going to have, there are going to be moves being made by these countries we're placing tariffs on. So it's going to get a little dicey. I do see that Fed Bank President Mary Daly of the San Francisco Fed, she's scheduled to talk tomorrow. And the topic of her talk is going to be the economy in 2025, the impact of tariffs, tax cuts, and Trump and she's going to be speaking at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. That could be an interesting report to see what her thoughts are, because she's not speaking for herself. She's kind of speaking for the Fed, but we'll have to wait and see what she says. But really, today, key economic event is the Trump tariffs that that go into effect tomorrow morning at midnight. Emily.
And Bill, when you woke up this morning and are looking at your screens, there was no question for you what was going to be happening today. You had all of this information over the weekend. We hear that you're able to, process that information quickly and really understand the details. And that's key. Not just the big headlines, but really what's underneath the happenings in the market. And you're also looking at other details with other types of news, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings. You also look at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Yeah, you're right. I was prepared for this. I knew this. I was pretty confident this was going to happen. I mean, run into the inauguration, you got a little bit of a honeymoon phase, but as soon as February 1 hits, with those tariffs, it's going to get ugly. And you look at the Dow today, you got 29 stocks lower, one higher. The one higher is Amgen. Let's see if they're able to hold on to that gain. You're looking at your FANG stocks. They're all trading lower. Everything's down 1.5%, essentially. So, it's going to be an ugly day. We're going to finish down hard. We'll be down, over 2% probably for a while there today. We'll see where we finish, but today is definitely going to be an ugly day for the markets. You look at some of the news, like on the FANG stocks, like, Amazon, this is like, these e-commerce platforms, these large major e-commerce platforms, the EU is planning to make them liable for illegal products or dangerous products that are sold in their stores. That's not good for those guys. Google, hey, let's face it, their earnings are coming out Tuesday afternoon. That could be a shot in the arm for them. But today they're going to court to try and overturn that recent App Store verdict against Epic Games. We'll see how that comes out. Meta Platforms, there's a story out there that their total investment in smart glasses has reached $100 billion. To Netflix, it's really on streaming services. Peacock said that, hey, our revenues rose 28% year over year in Q4. Yeah, they had the Olympics, and people left it on. So I'm not really surprised that Peacock did have a gain. I don't know if they'll hold it, but I'm not shocked. Tesla, listen, you look at the stock this morning, it's down 3.28%. They're not going to escape these Trump tariffs. They're going to hit all the autos, and autos are really getting hit today. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, Disney, Disney is weaker this morning by 1.29%. InterDigital initiates patent infringement litigation against Disney. Mark, down about 0.4%, just saying that their earnings are out tomorrow morning. Could move like $5 when their earnings come out. One to watch. In terms of merger news, JM Smuckers, they said on Friday that they're going to sell their packaged pastries business to Clover Hill and cinnamon rolls label Big Texas to packaged foods maker JTM Foods for about $40 million. In terms of guidance news, Cleveland Cliffs, ticker CLF, Charlie, Larry, Frank, they see full year 2024 revenue coming in $19.2 billion. Street estimates $19.27 billion now. Tyson Foods, they see full year 2025 revenue flat up 1%. Twist Biosciences, TWST, Tom Williams, Sam Tom, they see Q2 revenue coming in 91 million to 93 million. Street estimates 91.1 million. Okay, that's all right. In terms of shareholders, let's point this out. IBM is having a shareholders meeting tomorrow, February 4th. If this stock sells off and it drops down to, mid 245s, you got to kind of think there's going to be something positive that's going to happen tomorrow when they have that shareholders meeting. Remember, they're going to be putting out press releases early in the morning. So, IBM, one to watch towards the close today. But that's really what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what I appreciate about you on a day like today, I don't hear any sort of panic in your voice. You're still sifting through information, putting pieces of the puzzle together, and you're going to look for opportunity. So what is your pick of the day today?
You're right. You try not to panic, and you try to look for where their opportunity, where things are selling off and they shouldn't be. Today, my pick of the day is Verizon, ticker VZ, Victor Zebra. This weakness has all stocks on edge, and Verizon, is trading lower. It's trading lower by 0.36% this morning, which really isn't much. It's really not that much, but I think we could see some heavy weakness in the stock. I think it could fall down to the 38 under 38.50. If it does, that's a great opportunity because I don't want to say this. Even in times of recession, and I'm not saying we're in a recession, I'm just saying even in times of recession, cell phone bills get paid. It's the last thing people hold back on payments because they will switch you off and then you're without service. And people love their cell phone, so they always seem to find the money to pay that cell phone bill. So, you look at Friday's action, you look at the call volume, 45,307 versus 8,383. I mean, that's 4 to 1 essentially. That's very positive. You look at the call open interest, 541,000 versus 380,000. Yeah, that's positive. But it's all about the entry price here. I'm looking to get in $38.45 area because at the end of the day, this is a safety play. This is a play that you want to take advantage of some weakness because Verizon's earnings are going to be consistent. So if we can get a nice little opportunity to pick some up at that under 38.50, this would be a good trade. So I do like Verizon today, ticker VZ, Victor Zebra, Emily.
Kicking off the month with Verizon and, like you said, looking for opportunity here, even on a down morning, which will most likely turn into a down trading session. Coming up, we'll see if there's some opportunity on Friday, also a session in the red. So we will do a recap on that pick of the day coming up, so stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Let's talk about Costco for a second. COST, Costco and Teamsters Union reached a tentative agreement for a new contract. That's very positive. COST. Remember, they just raised wages. They announced a wage raise on Friday. Robinhood, ticker HOOD, they launched Super Bowl event contracts. Interesting. RTX elects Christopher Callow as chairman. RTX board says elected the president and CEO as chairman. Okay. Ollie's Bargain Basement, ticker OLLI. They appoint Eric Vander Valk as president and CEO. News out there on Meta saying that 2025 will likely prove the metaverse is a visionary feat or a legendary misadventure. Baxter, ticker BAX CEO, retires. Brent Schaaf appointed interim CEO. Hyatt extends exclusive agreement with Playa Hotels and Resorts. Ticker H. That's Estee Lauder earnings are due Tuesday morning. Call put ratio is 0.33 there. Interesting. ADM, Archer Daniels Midland, the global grain merchant, will soon start laying off employees as part of a global effort to cut costs as low crop prices erode profit. President Trump's going to be removing the New York Times from their dedicated office space in the Pentagon, citing the desire to make room for others. Delta, Southwest, United, pilot messaging system experienced temporary outage, which could lead to flight delays on Sunday. Starbucks and the union represented over 10,000 baristas have agreed to withdraw lawsuits filed against one another. Stars, Constellation Brands headed lower because those tariff impacts are going to hit their Mexican beer beverages issues. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we hold on to our hats and get ready for trading on this Monday, let's take a look back on Friday and that pick of the day, which was Decker Outdoor Corporation. If listeners recall, you did make this pick following their earnings. They had released earnings on Thursday of last week, and they posted a 17% jump in third quarter sales, and this was led by a 24% increase by Hoka, one of their popular brands. But there was a question on and how fast could this particular brand keep growing to kind of keep the company at that increased sales rate. So it did sort of take a hit. You thought on Friday perhaps you could take advantage of that weakness and get a gain from there. So Bill, how did your call work out?
It did work out. I mean, Friday was a real tough day as markets were posed for this weakness. But Decker's, opened up at 196.10 and then ran to 198.65. So yeah, it was there. But my entry price, I was looking at 185. I got to tell you, I was thinking 185. So I didn't do anything. I just sat back. But the 185 did hit later in the session, and right after that, it climbed all the way up to 188. Boom. There's your 1% again. Then, of course, it sold off because, there's this weakness with the Trump trade and everybody started getting a little nervous. It's down again today because of the Trump trade. Did Decker's Outdoor win? Yeah. Was it a great outperformer? No, but it was a winner, or it did hit the green based on the opening price and based on, my entry price. So, Decker's Outdoors, cash in.
And Bill, with that cash in with Decker Outdoors, that was another win. And in January, you had 20 picks, you had one loss, and only one flat trade. So 18 out of 20 there. That's a 90% win rate. We toss out that flat, and we're looking at a 95% win rate in January, as things weren't always so consistent. You were consistent, and that is certainly a win. And we will check in with you tomorrow and see how February starts out with today's Verizon pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk, when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.